Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being on time. Got here before Bashinsky could start the meeting, so I'm really happy about that. We have new mics, so just understand when you press the right button at your screen, it takes a max of 10. So please, when you're done talking, just turn your button off so we don't inhibit the fact that Tom might want to talk or something. So I just want to make sure we're all able to visit or do things we have to do. So thank you all for showing up today. We'll do roll call first, please, Len.
Eltoff? Bigwood or Schuler?
Yes, for Schuler.
Lachinsky?
Here.
Broussard? Carlsrud?
Here.
Dardis?
Here.
Erdman?
Here.
Idzo?
Here.
Mahoney?
Here.
Moen?
Here.
Nielsen? Schmaltz?
Here.
And Schmidt.
Here.
For associates, Lambret, Moe, or Siegert. We have a quorum.
So our introduction is Mayor Bernie Dardis is now our new member. He's officially approved by the legislative body. We had to fight tooth and nail to have that happen, but it went through successfully, so we're very pleased about that. So now he'll be able to speak from a role of authority, I would say. Bernie, you want to say any statement before you start? No, thank you. Do you have a motion to approve the agenda?
Also move.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 26, 225 meeting? Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All those in favor as well say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We're going to go to closed executive session pursuant to North Dakota laws 4404 19.1, 29, and 4404 19.2 for purposes of contract negotiation strategies and attorney consultation. Is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We will go. Aye. We will go to the Red River Room for consultation at that time. And the people who are online, please come in on the Zoom meeting at that time. Thank you.
Do I have Ann on the line now, Broussard?
Yes, I had to reset. I am here.
Okay, thank you.
Katie, can you give us a suggested motion, please?
Yes, we are looking for a motion to authorize Lawa Council to circulate a term sheet with Garrison Diversion for the delivery of water in accordance with the discussion that just occurred during the executive session.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Lisa, roll call vote, please. Pardon? Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion?
Okay, because what we just talked about upstairs, and of course what we passed at our last session is that we would have the Fargo and Grand Forks attorneys work with the Garrison Diversion attorneys wholeheartedly to come to some conclusions that would satisfy both parties on this. And I guess we understand, so the term sheet that we just reviewed, that was presented to the Laval board, that we would have discussion and look at all the items that were included in that, and that would be presented to Garrison Diversion and their legal counsel. So I guess all I'm asking is that there's going to be give and take probably both ways on this agreement, and that rather than both parties just saying, okay, this is what we believe and this is what we believe, and we never get a conclusion, I would not be in favor of that. I would hope that this is a working document and that both parties go into it open-minded and they try to figure out if there's any issues in that document that may be conflicting to one party or the other, that they get it worked out rather than just a bunch of letter writing back and forth about this is my opinion, this is our opinion. I think this board agreed that we would allow other attorneys and consultants to provide information to Garrison and vice versa. And I would just appreciate that that would continue to move forward.
And I think, Tom, that's truly the intent. I think we're all getting kind of tired of letters going back and forth and emails going back and forth. We'd like people to sit down and have discussions with the conclusion as partners, Garrison and Lawa would work together to get this done. So truly our intent of this document that we're sending over is that would be an open discussion of all the parties. And I thank you for reminding us of that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or concerns?
I think, just one
Mr.
thing,
Boshinsky?
Chairman. I think there's large terms that are obviously not going to be movable. Like this project, Grand Forks is not moving forward if this project doesn't have some sort of shared responsibility and shared risk. So there are certainly factors that we are willing to negotiate and some that we're not. So I think, don't get your hopes up too high that everything's going to be perfect. But as our members of LAWA's board, we want to do the best for LAWA and our users. So as far as negotiating with Garrison, yeah, we're going to negotiate hard as heck to get what LAWA thinks is right and what the user entities are right. And at the end of the day, we're the ones footing the bill for this. So last time I checked, if you're paying for something, you're usually going to get pretty close to what you want. But that's just my opinion. So I agree mostly with what you're saying, but it's going to be a hard negotiation, put it that way.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Dave?
at the risk of oversimplification, usually a good deal is when both parties can eat when we're done.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Eltoff? Yes. Schuler?
Yes.
Pachensky?
Yes.
Broussard?
Yes.
Karlsruhe?
Yes.
Dardis?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Idzo?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Yes.
Moen?
Yes.
Nielsen? Schmaltz?
Yes.
And Schmidt?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. Mary Meridian, let's go to budget analysis, tab P, please.
Sure. If you would turn to tab P in your books, this is Lake Agassiz budget analysis up through July 31st of 2025. So for the budget for the income section, the income budget was $36,945. Actual income received as of July 31st was $39,089. Going down to the expense budget. The expense budget was $227,000. Expenses so far as of July 31st were $191,211, leaving $35,838 remaining in expenses. At the beginning of the year, the bank balance was $251,616, with that income received of a little over $39,000 and less bank fees. Total of funds available were $290,000, subtracting the total expenses of $191,211. The ending bank balance is $99,442. And as always, we list all of the checks that have been paid, and the checks there that are highlighted in yellow are the ones that have been paid since the last Lake Agassiz board meeting.
So we would have to approve this, is that correct?
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a motion to approve? Is there a second? Roll call vote, please. Excuse me?
I'm going to start with the second. Bigwood?
Schuler.
Schuler,
yes.
I'm sorry. Pachensky?
Yes.
Broussard?
Yes.
Karlsruhe?
Yes.
Dardis?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Idzo?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Yes.
Moen?
Yes.
Nielsen? Schmaltz?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Eltoff? Motion's carried.
Okay.
Mary?
Yep, and then, Mr. Chairman, if I just may, to talk about the budget just a little bit more. At your next Lake Agassiz board meeting, we'll be bringing a revised budget to you. As I stated, there's $35,000 left in expenses to pay, and Lake Agassiz will be short a little bit with, at the last board meeting, you approved the contract with AE2S for Brent's time at $85,000 plus expenses. Plus, we will be over on Onstead Twitchell, the legal invoices. So we're trying to put together what expenses will need to be. So we'll bring a budget revision to the next board meeting. And I'll just state that I've been talking with city administration for Fargo and Grand Forks, and Fargo and Grand Forks had said that they agreed to pick up that shortage. So at the next board meeting, we'll bring a budget revision to you.
And then summary of dues and cost share paid, tab R is for information.
Yep, those are both there for your information, and I'd answer any questions, but they're there for your information.
Thank you very much. John Shockley online. Interim finance.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Series F. John, you're on.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, or Mr. Chair, sorry. We've been going back and forth with Garrison's council regarding the Series F financing documents. I've been sharing and coordinating those documents with council for Fargo and Grand Forks. We recently received comments back late last night at 9 p.m. Central Time, which was obviously after the close of business for everybody. And so we're just starting to do those initial reviews, and then we'll get some responses back. But we've been actively working on that in earnest. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the board members?
It's right back on schedule.
Wow, that's okay. Yep, Kovar, you're up. Project construction update. And I think somebody has their microphone on and we hear wind blowing. Thank you.
How do you turn, oh, it's on. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Board. I have some construction photos for you here. Have a new graphic for you. So the items in green are complete. So we have the Missouri River complete, contract 5A is complete, the discharge structure is complete. Yellow are construction projects underway. So we have 5B, 5C, 5D, and 6A. And then just a few notes there on your right-hand side. 35 miles of pipeline are under contract. 23 miles of pipe are in the ground. And over 50 miles are shovel ready. Just stop me if you have any questions. Each individual contract here is up on your screen. So 5D, we're at 7.7 miles in the ground out of 10. 5B, all the pipe is in the ground, and that is pressure tested, and that passed. And so we have 2 miles of restoration left on that contract. Contract 5C, we have 4.6 miles in the ground out of 8. And in contract 6A, which just started this year, they have almost a mile in the ground out of 7. Just another metric for you. You can see how many miles have been installed each year. We're at 5.2 right now. Since your last meeting there, we put a bar, so you can kind of tell. We'll try to do that each meeting, try to let you know each month what we put in the ground. And we have had quite a bit of rain this year, so it slowed us down a little bit, but they're still slugging through the mud and putting pipe in the ground, and hopefully we'll end the last 3 months here on a good note. Couple photos for you. On the left-hand side of your screen, it's an air release manhole. So these are the facilities that stick above ground, and it's in a farmer's field. Typically, we try to get them along the edge of the field or edge of a roadway. But that's kind of the plumbing that's inside them that releases air from high spots. On the right side, just some restoration work. Some typical construction photos from this year. Groundwater continues to be an issue. Some more good photos from drone. You can see it's very green out there. At the July board meeting, we did have a tour for the Garrison Diversion Board of Directors. We didn't get them all in there, but we got several down in the ditch and got a good picture of part of the board, and they just happened to be putting that piece of pipe in the ground in the background, so it was perfect timing. And it was around July 4th, and so they definitely had flags flying everywhere. What's that? Yes, Alan was there, yeah. Made the big photo. And we also welcome this board to come out and do that same tour if you can. And something that you haven't seen is the pilot water treatment plant. So there's a couple of Connex boxes set up at the headworks of the McCluskey Canal. So it's on the very east end of Lake Audubon, where water goes from Lake Audubon into the McCluskey Canal. We have a portable treatment plant set up there, and it'll be running there for about a month. And then after a month's time, we'll go downstream down the McCluskey Canal and kind of pick up some of the worst water scenarios, and we'll run it there. Any questions with the photos that you've seen so far before I kind of get into some just quick metrics for you? Construction contracts to date are $270 million. With change orders, we have a net increase of $585,000. So the revised contract amount today is about $271 million, which is about 0.2% change. Of the, I'm going to go right down to the bottom middle column. So contract amount $271 million. Of that $271 million, we have invoiced or billed out $178 million of that. And you can see all the contracts. The last column shows whether they're complete or not. This is something that kind of came up this winter. People asked about a little bit of cash flow. I think maybe Brent asked about cash flow. So this is the money spent in millions. And the blue represents engineering. The green represents construction dollars. So you can see wintertime, it's pretty low as far as the green section goes or construction. As we get into February, March, April, it starts to ramp up. And so like in July, 12.2 million in construction and 1.2 million in engineering. And just let us know if that's something you want to continue to see. And then the last item is the work plan update. The written report is under tab S in your book. And with that, I'd take any questions with what's been presented.
Good so far. Let's go out to our task orders.
Okay. And on the task orders, I'm going to pivot and give this to Paul with Black and Veatch.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Board. We have two relatively simple task orders that we're bringing forward for approval. The first one is task order 1520. It's a amendment to our operational planning task order. We've had a task order called Phase 3 Operations, and we are requesting a amendment to that Phase 3 Operations task order. It is a amendment that will be funded out of the previous biennium, so out of the 23 to 25 biennium money. So it's not coming out of the amendment would not be funded out of the new biennium that we just started. The reasons for this task order is that we are obviously, as we've been talking about with this board, is we are thinking about long-term, how are we structuring the idea of shared operations between the Garrison and Lawa board going forward. In the meantime, there are continuing operations things that we are doing and that we have done and will continue to do through the end of this year. So this amendment is effectively a 6-month amendment to give some interim funding to ongoing operations things. These are things we're being requested to do by the two boards. Support with state modeling, discussions with ongoing users as were requested by the boards, support with regulatory agencies as were being requested by the board. So again, this is not funding new operations activities under our future split operations mode, but just kind of continuing to support the two boards for another 6 months until these longer term operations kind of governance structure gets worked out. So this is the first request, and actually we'll ask for a motion of 2 task orders at the same time. If people want to ask more questions about this, we have a little bit more detail in terms of kind of what's included in this, and I believe the amendment is included in your board books if you care to see more detail on it. The second task order will be funded under this new biennium's money, and it is support of our ongoing project management information system. So let's just for 30 seconds kind of digress on what this is. You've approved previous task orders for PMIS before, and you know, think of us spending this last month, we've spent you know, nearly $13.5 million of money between engineering and construction. A lot of invoices, a lot of paperwork, a lot of submittals, a lot of communications go back and forth with this kind of size project. Our project management information system is really the overall software system that we use to manage the project financially in a responsible way. It's to manage our workflow, who gets what communications when, who needs to sign off on things. And it also becomes kind of our record management system of how we maintain records, you know, thousands of records for this kind of system. So the task order that we are proposing is part of our next biennium plan. You know, we think it's fairly straightforward. It includes some money for ongoing training of garrison, engineering, and consultant staff. Will begin as the project grows. This is effectively a software license task order. We'll get a lot more software licenses for this. We will be including LAWA, people like Brent Bogart in having a license. So anybody who wants to from the LAWA board can get on and see real time kind of our financial positions, our construction progress, that kind of thing. So this is all part of the stuff that we are requesting for this task order. Here's just a couple of examples of screenshots that we already get from our PMIS system. This just, you know, we said, like, just for instance, what would happen what have we done in the last 2 weeks of construction? Well, this gives you the, you know, pipe delivered, pipe installed, topsoil stripped, all that kind of thing in the last couple of weeks. It's a real-time database that's one of the things we get out of this PMIS system. Here's another example of just, it helps us track where work is going on, the amount of work that's happening. So we use these dashboards pretty frequently, and we'll be making them more available to the boards in future months. So in effect, what this $689,000 task order is requesting is for $37,000 for task order management. A lot of the task order, more than $300,000, is actually going for software subscription or renewal costs. That's a consultant cost. Administration of the contract, continuous improvement. We continue to work with Garrison and our subs in terms of how do we keep optimizing this overall system. And then obviously reporting and dashboard maintenance, the kind of dashboards that we just illustrated for you. So our recommended motion is this, that the board move to approve task order 1520, amendment number 1 for operation support. And again, that's under the previous biennium funding. It will come out of contingency. And task order 1630 for our, basically our, it's called Unity Construct PMIS. It's our PMIS system for phase 3.
Do you have a motion? Is there a second? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Buchensky.
Yes.
Broussard.
Yes.
Karlsruhe.
Yes?
Dardis.
You had to step out.
Okay. Erdman.
Yes.
Idzo.
Yes.
Mahoney.
Yes?
Moen.
Yes.
Nielsen. Schmaltz.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Eltoff. And Schuler.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you, Mr.
Kip
Chairman.
back on or Paul back on? Kip, okay, thanks, Paul. Work plan budget, Kip Covard, work plan budget.
Yep, so the 23-25 biennium work plan budget is on tab V. And I would like to take you to page 3. You'll see it, a portion is highlighted. So the task order, the amendment that you just approved is highlighted there. And then if you turn to page 4, you'll see that we took it out of contingency. So in the 23-25 biennium budget, you still have 6.3 in contingency. And just as a reminder, each individual project has about an additional $1 million in contingency in the construction activities. But that's how we made your adjustments to pay for that amendment. And then any questions with that one? And then if you go to tab W, that's your 25-27 draft binding work plan. There's a series of highlights there. So the first 3 highlights, item 3, 4, and 5, we made adjustments because we actually have, we actually know the fees that would be anticipated for those construction phase services to go along with construction when you guys take that up. So we just made those adjustments. Line item 7, we removed the construction dollars, but we kept in the design of that one. That's the Washburn work. Obviously, if we think we're going to construct in the next 2 years, we can bring that back. Turning to page 2 of 3. So item 11, you'll see another highlight. So the program management item that you just approved was adjusted in there for that one. And then I'll point out line 16, you have 14.43 million in contingency. So I just wanted to point out how you paid for the PMIS and the adjustments.
Very good. Any questions? Appreciate that. And program schedule, tab X.
Yeah, tab X is your schedule. You can see 5C, 5D, 6A are in there. We've talked about those already. Just realize towards the bottom there on line 100, you have contracts 6B and 6C in there. In this schedule, if you can see on line 107, we're assuming that we'll start bidding, September 1st. So you just have to realize whenever we get Series F figured out, we'll have to adjust that one. Turning to the next page, we have contracts 7A and B when we think they might come on board. Moving on down, contract 4, we've laid that out when we think that would come. NDOS is in there, and facility assets. So the schedule's up to date as far as what we know today.
Thank you.
Yep.
Steve Burrian here? I don't see him.
I'm online.
You're on, right?
Mahoney.
Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
I have made most of the presentation of the most recent updates at the previous meeting. Since our last meeting, we did have one new member send in a signed memorandum of commitment. So at the end of my presentation, we'll need a motion, a second, and approval for accepting the signed MOC from Northeast Rural Water District, which is the district up in far northeast North Dakota, as its name implies, with Pembina County and Cavalier County. As I've mentioned in the past, we're working on a soft landing for user engagement, and we do have 5 users still pondering the project: Dakota Rural Water, Devils Lake / Lakota, Ellendale, Oaks, and Trail County. And we're trying to keep our efforts very limited by just reaching out periodically to see if they've made any progress and then answering any questions they have. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Motion to approve the Northeast Regional Water District, please. Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Carlsrud,
Yes.
Dardis, Erdman,
Yes.
Idso,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Moen,
Yes.
Nielsen, Schmaltz,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Eltoff, Schuler,
Yes.
Wachensky,
Yes.
Broussard.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
John Shockey, you're back up again. Project Participation Agreement Update and Plan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With respect to the PPA participation agreement, we're going to be sending out the term sheet that was previously discussed to Garrison Diversion. And then we're currently working on draft agreements with the member entities to distribute water to them. We really need to get the water supply agreement in place with Garrison Diversion first. So the term sheet is going to be priority, but we are working on the other agreements. And happy to answer any questions, but we're currently working through those.
Any questions of the board? Commissioner Wachensky?
Mr. Shockley, going forward, we keep talking PPA. Should we change the term so we got water supply agreement, law conveyance agreement, just so we're all on the same page as we move forward? Does that make some sense? I know it's just a terminology thing, but just.
Yeah, it's a great question, Mr. Vice Chair. We should change it to, instead of PPA, it'd be a water distribution agreement.
Very good. Any other comments or questions? Thank you. Katie Schmidt, you have been waiting for this time, I know, over and over, this bylaw thing. Can we get some bylaws on here? So I think that Tom Erdman gave some addition things. I don't know if you have that teed up for us as well, but do you want to go our bylaws revision update?
Sure. You want to go ahead, Mr. Erdman?
We'll have you go first.
You want me to
Tom
go
can
first?
speak
All right, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Within tab Z, you will find the first reading of the proposed modifications to the bylaws. This includes all of the modifications that we have discussed to date. At the end of today's discussion, I'll ask that you approve the first reading of the proposed amendments, and then at the next meeting, we'll bring back the second reading. We'll make any sort of modifications that we need to based upon the discussion that we have today. As Mr. Chair indicated, so far I've received some comments from Mayor Erdman. So Mayor Erdman, if you'd like to discuss those.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a copy to put on the screen, but I sent us all out to all the board members, plus legal counsel, along with Dwayne DeCray at Garrison Diversion. So basically, what the first item of recommendation is under associate member entities to add the term county, because Richland County is actually signed up for CSF. So we do have a county entity that has signed up as a nomination. Then also under section 4, membership, that just to add the term counties, because like I just said, we added county on the original one. And then under section 5B3, term and election of directors. For election of directors after July 1, 2017, a candidate for a director position must have a memorandum of commitment and nomination. That's new. And along with the development agreement, water supply contract, or participation agreement with LAWA or the Garrison Diversion Conservancy District. Then under section 6E, meetings, alternate designation. We're kind of a unique board that each member entity has a director that's been appointed or elected. And also, if they're absent, they do have the ability to designate an alternate. And the issue with the designated alternate is that as far as them being able to vote on amendments to the bylaws, so it's my recommendation, along with a couple other board members, that alternate designation, that we delete the exception of votes on amendments to the bylaws.
Katie, can we address that? Issues? Are there any issues with that? It makes sense, but
Sure, I'll just make a point that that was included in the original bylaws that were adopted by LAWA, so that's not something that we have proposed to be modified. But you certainly can leave it or change it, it's up to you. It's just whether or not you want the alternate to be able to vote on the bylaw amendment.
And I think that was just to protect it, because then the normal person who hears all the time would understand maybe amendment. You're saying, Tom, the alternate should be aware of that, and you would have visited with them and say yes or no or vote on it. You'd rather not send the alternate and couldn't have them vote. Is that what you'd like?
Well, we'd rather, I mean, if the entity or the directors designated an alternate, that alternate would also have the right to vote on that entity's behalf that they could vote on. So I'm asking that we delete the fact that it says the exception of votes on amendments to bylaws, that we would also allow an alternate to be able to vote on amendments to the bylaws, because they've been appointed by the director originally of that member entity.
So I'd ask the group, are you all okay with that? So I'm just do a verbal vote on that. All those in favor of allowing the alternate to vote, say yes.
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 All those opposed, say no. So, yeah. So Katie, can you incorporate that, please?
Yeah, I will.
And let's go back to the county question. So
Sure.
is there any question, are we allowed to have county members, and would they be associate members?
So statutorily, as we've discussed previously, defines who can be our members. It indicates that other cities, counties, water distribution districts, systems can sign up to be members with approval of the board. So I think that the changes that you proposed make sense.
So let's do the same thing on that, Tom, is let's have just a verbal vote if we agree with that. Is that fair?
It's fine.
Yeah. So I think a suggestion that the counties would be able to come on as associate members if the board of directors agrees to that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carried.
Aye.
Okay. And what was the third thing? Or I don't know how many things you had.
Okay. The third item was basically about the director position. They must have a signed memorandum of commitment and a nomination after 2017. So any new director that would be appointed or put on this board, their member entity would have to have a signed memorandum of commitment and a nomination of CSFs of water. In addition, or a development agreement, a water supply contract, or a project participation agreement, which now the project participation agreement is called a term or a water supply agreement. So maybe that needs to be changed then too, if we're gonna come back and talk about a water supply agreement instead of project participation agreement.
Yeah, I think the intent of the bylaw is to be more broad, is to be more inclusive. So I think that even, I mean, we can certainly add memorandum of commitment and nomination, but I think that that would be included in a project participation agreement, development agreement.
Okay.
I got just one comment on that. I think, going forward, I just, having an understanding of what that looks like, because if you have a memorandum of commitment, you still don't have at this point any financial contribution to the project, so I think we need to consider do we want some financial contribution to be a part of that or not?
Well, I would assume they'd had to have signed a series financing agreement of some type.
Right, well, MOCs haven't, so they, if you've signed an MOC, you don't have any financial commitment to the project right now.
Right, but if they've signed on to the series financing agreement, that would be part of it, but I follow what you're saying. You could actually have a memorandum of commitment, but you have not signed any documentation that you have a financial commitment. So if you have not signed on Series D, or it'd be like the new entity that we just approved here, they have not committed to any financing at this point.
So not to say that we couldn't add, I guess I just want to understand it a little bit better before we make a change on that. But certainly we can vote on it either way.
Well, right, but I guess, the other thing is this is just one item in addition to what's already on the document. It says a development agreement, a water supply contract, or project participation agreement. So this was, an entity has already signed a commitment. Granted, they have not probably entered into a financing contract, but they will be shortly, because now that they're an entity, the next series that we would bring on board, they would have to sign that as a financial obligation.
But can you make some modifications and bring us something to look at for next?
Yep, I can certainly add something about having one of those agreements as well as a financial commitment to contribute to the project, if that makes sense to people.
Okay, so this will be the controversial one. So item 6H6, in addition to requiring an affirmative supermajority vote described in section 6H5, all matters described in section 6H5 must also receive an affirmative vote from both I, the director of the city with a population greater than 40,000 located east of State Highway 1 and north of State Highway 200, and if such director is not from the city of Grand Forks, then also the approval of the city of Grand Forks. And item I2 is a director from a city with a population greater than 120,000 located east of State Highway 1 and south of State Highway 200. If such director is not from the city of Fargo, then also by approval of the city of Fargo. It's my recommendation that we delete this entire paragraph. So what we've done here is we do have a lot of items that require a supermajority vote, which would mean that there would be 9 members in favor, and that passes those items. And it eliminates the fact that Fargo and Grand Forks have the right to come back and disagree with that decision. If it's a 67% vote, I guess that would tell me the majority of the board is willing to, and I guess looking at that item, and that should pass on its own merit without having the fact that Fargo and Grand Forks have come back and veto that decision. I think we're all on board here to finish this project and do it for the benefit of everybody involved. Granted, Fargo and Grand Forks have a larger investment than the rest of us, I get that, but I think as a board of 13 members, we're doing the best we can to move this project forward and keep it going forward so it gets completed. And the whole goal of this project is to get it completed and operational for the benefit of everybody.
Okay, do you want to explain that to why that came about, please?
Sure. So originally, I'm sure as you remember, we talked about doing weighted voting, and based upon those figures, that would have given Fargo and Grand Forks a greater stake just because they are the largest members. This seemed to be the compromise to switch more to the supermajority, and then within that, having Fargo and Grand Forks to be a part of it. Remember that we obviously still need a supermajority for all of these A through I that are listed. So even though Fargo and Grand Forks have to vote in favor of them, they still need support from the rest of the board in order to make it a super. So that's how we got to where we are today.
And I'd say in the Diversion Authority, we have similar items like that, in which an entity from Minnesota has to at least have 1 vote for what we do. And it's worked fairly well, Tom. I think it's reassured the people that they have a say in that. I think the difficulty you have if we take weighted voting away is you have 2 major contributors to the costs, that if 9 votes went for something that increased the cost, and the 2 major contributors theoretically could be outvoted, that is the concern. And I think that's what you're just trying to protect, that in a matter of whatever. And I guess when we've talked to our water attorneys, that's what they have recommended, because in a small area, someplace where board did get along, they suddenly didn't get along. And then you had some members that had really set up for chaos in that particular water project. So I think this was the compromise that was struck. Mayor Wyszynski speak to it as well, but I think we still feel we probably should be able to get the votes, 9 votes that we need for anything, but.
Yeah, I guess I agree. I thought this was the compromise. I wasn't in love with the weighted voting, and I tried to push that down as much as possible. I think the important point is if Grand Forks and Fargo wanted to change something, you'd still need a supermajority, so you'd still need 9 member entities, so you're not really able to do something without the contribution of the smaller users. This is really a protection. If you had, a bunch of users that have half a CFS, you might have somebody that's got 3% of the cost in the project, maybe, 5% of the cost of the project. Can raise the cost on someone that's got 80% cost on it. That would be troublesome to me. It'd be great. I hope everyone gets along forever, but effective boards should disagree on things. That means you're moving the needle and you're making things happen. So you do have to plan. Might not have someone so congenial in the future as Mayor Mahoney running things. So I don't know if Pipcorn or someone else will be running in the future. They might be a little more gruff. So anyway, I thought that was a compromise. I guess I'm willing to live with it and move forward. But again, that's why we have these votes. I think it's a good balance. But maybe that's something directly that we could vote on as a board. so be it as it works out.
And Dave, you had questions about this as well. You know about Tom's concerns.
Tom and I have talked, excuse me, Tom and I have talked a few times, and we've been trying to find something that works, that will protect the smaller users from the big users, and conversely, the way the wind blows the other way. And I'm talking, you pushed the weighted vote, my shoulder still hurts from that. But anyway, we talked about this a few times and trying to find a way that was really simple. And when this came out that the two larger users, largest users had to support the majority vote, I struggled with that. And as I was thinking about it, I was thinking about passing stuff all the time, and what comes to mind was who can stop what. And if 9 of us wanted to do a financial thing that was going to put the larger users in a tight box, that really isn't protecting the larger users. And conversely, when if we wanted to, we could do that without that part of it. The other way around, if the large users wanted to do something, we can also stop that with our nine votes. We'll stop that. So I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I think this could work.
I think what I'll do on this, Tom, is we'll do our first reading, but we'll allow the members to think about this because it's coming to us pretty quick. I'll ask Katie and Brent to go to each member and visit with each member to go through the goods and the bads of it, and then we can put it up as suggested amendment next meeting.
Okay.
I was going to say, you maybe had an alternative, do you want to read your alternative paragraph as opposed to that?
Right,
Just
'cause I
to put
said
it out there.
Right, if 6H6 remains, I just put in here that parliamentary rules and voting procedure, item 5D, electing, selecting, or removing LAWA officers and senior staff. As this pertains to an item number 6, whereby Fargo and Grand Forks must allow or agree the director being elected to an officer position of chairman or vice chairman. As presently written, Fargo and Grand Forks could effectively not allow any other director from seeking or being elected to either of these positions. A potential solution would be a provision that requires one of these positions is filled by either a director from Fargo or Grand Forks, thus allowing a small user director the opportunity to seek one of these positions if they decide.
So the alternative proposal would be to leave that paragraph where Fargo and Grand Forks have to vote in favor of the supermajority, but changing sub D under the supermajority requirements, which currently has electing, selecting, or removing LAWA officers and senior staff. Mayor Erdman's proposal would be that would be the director or vice chair or chair would be held by a Fargo or a Grand Forks, but then the other alternative position could be held by a different director. Am I
Right, and it
summarizing that
still
right
may
there?
be held by Fargo or Grand Forks ultimately, but it does provide some protection if a smaller user wants to run for that position, that Fargo and Grand Forks are okay with that as long as either one of them are in the chair or vice chair position.
Something to think about. You could alternatively just move that to a simple majority spot and you don't have to worry. But you want to keep it in supermajority and just remove the veto?
Well, I guess if we're leaving section 6, that's the one item, the one line item just dealt with the election of officers. So I'm saying that if section 6 stays where it is, then we would want to change the line item concerning elections only in item 6 of number 5D. So 5D says electing, selecting, or removing LAWA officers and staff. So this would just deal with the electing of staff would be, or electing an officer to the LAWA board, that Fargo and Grand Forks would have the right to basically, they could have both positions, but if another smaller entity chose to run and was elected by the supermajority, that the two of Fargo and Grand Forks could not remove them from that position.
Yeah, I don't have any issues. I don't think it has to be Grand Forks and Fargo in those two positions always. I don't know if you wanna, maybe that's a change for those seats. I don't know if the rest of it, hiring and firing, removing
I guess
staff.
the only item is dealing with electing of an officer, not
Yeah, I
dealing
think,
with
Tom,
the
your,
rest of it.
your suggestion, as I understand it, one of the two positions would be held by Fargo Grand Forks, and then another LAWA member could be elected to the vice chair position or to the chair position.
Right, because right now, we could say elect Jim Schmaltz as being a vice chairman, and Fargo and Grand Forks decided they didn't want him there, so we have a supermajority vote, give him the 9 votes, and then you guys could still say, no, we don't want him in there, I want to be in there.
Right. So I think the amendment would be, we would leave all of this as is, but then to subparagraph 6, we'd make an exception for the electing, selecting, removing LAWA officers and senior staff. So it would just be a supermajority, just you wouldn't have to have the Fargo and Grand Forks voting in favor of that. Does that make sense?
Correct, but I guess you still have that, but if section 6 stays in there, Fargo and Grand Forks still have the right to veto whatever the supermajority is.
We make the exception for that,
Okay.
for the elections.
So
If that
I'll
makes sense.
motion that you remove D and make an exception under 6. I'll make a motion for that.
6D?
So it'd be 6, wouldn't it be just under 6?
Yep, so it'd
D
be,
would go under 6 as just an exception. That wouldn't have the veto. It would just be a supermajority.
yes,
So you would keep it where it is, but you put the exception under still on the supermajority.
yes, yep, I'd listed in subparagraph 6 as being an exception to paragraph 6 of having those Fargo and Grand
I
Forks
make
votes.
that motion.
Your second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Aye.
Then I guess, so then I'll go on with section 6H7, that pertains back to the designated alternates, would be to delete with the exception of amendment to bylaws, because up above, we'd already made the change with the designated alternate, that they would have the right to do amendments with bylaws. And then also, section 12, amendment of bylaws would be another one, because the alternate, it says here, will not be allowed to vote on proposed changes to the bylaws. So if we're allowing the alternate to vote on the bylaws, we need to delete anything that says they do not have the right to do that.
Want a motion?
How about, can we do a first reading motion and approve it, and then we can, I'll make the amendments, and then we can bring a second reading back next time. So make
Okay.
a motion to approve the first reading of the bylaws as we discussed.
I think we're, yeah, but,
Modifications?
so I think the motion that we should have is the first reading should include the changes that we voted on
Yes,
today.
yes, absolutely.
So do we address Tom's thing, or you're saying that should be addressed at the other motion?
Yep, I think we already did, because he addressed it in like the third or fourth
Okay.
comment that we discussed. So I think we're ready to approve the
So,
first reading.
Mayor Baczynski, can you give me the motion I'm supposed to have right now, please?
I'll move to approve the bylaw changes,
First reading.
as the first reading with the motions that we've made today included as part of the first reading, to be brought back for a second reading with conclusions.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Further discussion? I didn't know I had a bylaw expert with Tom here.
Mr. Chairman?
Good luck with that.
Oh, I got you.
I mentioned that Tom and I had talked a lot about this, but I need to qualify that Tom did all the work on it.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Idso,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Moen,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Schmaltz,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Hilltop,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Baczynski,
Yes.
Broussard,
Yes.
Carlsrud,
Yes.
and Dardis. Motion is carried.
Very good. We're down to the end, almost on time, but So Series F, we had a discussion, the Water Commission did not vote on Series F at this time with the new funding for new projects going forward in the fall. So instructions, we met with Jay Anderson and Dwayne Kipp and talked about Dua Garrison and Lawa working vigorously to get on track with the Series F. My request is that Brent Bogart and members of the Garrison team go out and talk to all the users and kind of go through the different things that are happening in that regard. In talking to legislative people, we do not want to stop or slow down on this project. So we're going to have to your comment, Tom, sit down and work together and get some things moving because I feel we're a little bit at a standstill. I think LAWA is committed to continue to move forward on the project and we want those things to happen. And sometimes when we get consultants and lawyers and different people involved, seem things slow down a bit. And so our suggestions as a board is basically we want to move forward and have things move forward in that way. We truly want this project to move forward and we've made great progress so far. So my comment is just that would ask Jay Anderson and his board work with us vigorously to make it like we start moving forward because it just seems like we're having a lot of discussion but not a lot of action. So that'd be my only comment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I have one
Yeah.
more thing, Mayor. I'd just like to recognize Jack Hancock, passed away first part of August. And he should be recognized for being on the board.
Can we do a recommendation, do that for that, our next board meeting, we can do that, make sure we send something to the family as well?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, I forgot about bringing that up. Yep. So motion to adjourn? So moved. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
Right.
Thank you.
Aye.